Hello buddy, San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about Moderna launching and starting their phase 1, phase 2 clinical trial to tackle HIV through their mRNA technology. Now, before we jump into today's video, I do want to ask you guys to like this video, smash that like button, destroy that like button. Really does help the channel. If you've not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. And if you want to go a step further, you can always hit that notification bell and also join the channel through the feature just underneath this video. So this was actually released 2 days ago. And basically what it is HIV. We've seen in the last video that there was Excision Biosciences that actually are launching their phase 1, phase 2 clinical trial through CRISPR, that technology. But what Moderna is doing here is through the mRNA technology. And just as a reminder, CRISPR and mRNA technologies are different, although they can have the same type of outcome, which is basically eradicating HIV, potentially having a cure for HIV. Both of the approaches are different, right? mRNA, I'm sure all of you, or at least most of you, know by now what Moderna is. We've seen what happened with the pandemic, and Moderna here are trying to basically show to the world that they're not just a one-time deal company, a one-trick ponytail. They are a platform. They want to diversify their technology and basically venture into other diseases, and HIV is indeed a great disease to tackle because there are so many patients around the world with HIV. Specifically in the US alone, there are hundreds of thousands of individuals with HIV, and obviously HIV is the virus that eventually leads to AIDS, and I don't have to explain to you guys how serious and deadly that disease is, right? So this was a news, like I said, on Moderna's website. I'm gonna go over the WebMD website because there's some summarized details here, but just to show you guys the phase 1 trial, it is called IAVIG002, and basically the CEO of IAVI sort of mentioned, we are tremendously excited to be advancing this new direction in HIV vaccine design with Moderna's mRNA platform. The search of an HIV vaccine has been long and challenging. Having new tools in terms of immunogens and platform that could be the key to making rapid progress towards an urgent, needed, effective HIV vaccine, right? And then you had a couple of notes from the president of Moderna. And what's really note is we are grateful for all of our partners, especially to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for funding this trial. So this trial is getting funding from basically Bill Gates and his ex-wife, Melinda Gates. I actually forgot what's her family name now. Obviously, she lost the Gates family name because they're no longer together. But the point here is that the foundation, which obviously they're still working on together, are now funding this study, right? And we've talked about it in this channel. A study of this size probably takes about $1 billion of cost before you even get to the point of FDA approval. So I do think this is going to cost around that, if not more, right? If not more, because this is a serious disease to tackle. There's going to be a lot. You can bet that FDA is going to be all over this when it comes to safety, efficiency. They're going over some of the data here, some of the specific processes, right? So mRNA, don't forget, it's all about making sure that you get those ribosomes in the cells to basically get that coding information from the mRNA that you're injecting, and basically, generate those proteins that eventually can eradicate HIV in the long term in the human body, right? So they're talking about some of the information here, some of the dosage here. Again, this is completely different from CRISPR. Don't forget, CRISPR goes to the specific gene. In this case, with CRISPR, what we saw with Excision Biosciences, they're tackling the CCR5 gene, which is basically responsible for HIV. So basically, if you knock out that gene, you basically can eradicate HIV potentially in the human body. But in this case, obviously, there's no mention of CCR5 because this is not what the mRNA technology is about, right? Now, again, I do want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Just because it doesn't knock out the gene does not mean it cannot eradicate the disease. There are different ways to skin the cat, right? So this is the ClinicalGov trial website. I always go over that website just to see a little bit of the progress. Collaborators, obviously Moderna is in there. You're looking at the HIV, the disease they're basically tackling, and then the treatment here, you're looking at the mRNA vaccine. There is mention of a vaccine, and then there is a mention of booster, which we'll take a look at the other website from web.md shortly. But just know there's going to be about 56 participants here enrolled. And this has started today. They are currently recruiting, and this is going to take some time here because of Moderna's reach with the FDA, because of their approval with the pandemic vaccine that we've all seen and heard. And in fact, I actually took the vaccine myself from Moderna. I think they'll get a great deal from the FDA when it comes to FDA approval. It's just the nature of the business. When you already have a business that's generating billions of dollars of FDA approved pandemic vaccine, basically you're probably in a position to get this type of program accelerated compared to another company like Excision Biosciences, which has using a technology that is unfortunately not FDA approved right now. But we do expect that will all change in the upcoming years, specifically in the next year when CTX-001 gets approved. So Moderna launched this clinical trial for HIV vaccine. Again, this news was, like I said, recent, and this is on WebMD. And basically, they're going over, the release said 56 HIV negative adults are taking part in this clinical trial, 48 getting 1 or 2 doses of the mRNA vaccine, with 32 also getting the booster, and only 8 people out of these 56 healthy HIV negative adults are getting just a booster. And all of them will be monitored for up to 6 months after receiving the final dose, right? And then obviously they're talking about the mRNA vaccine, which have been successful in the recent years, especially with the pandemic, specifically with Moderna's success with the recent vaccine with the pandemic. About 1.2 million people in the US had HIV at the end of 2019, according to CDC, and more than 36 people being diagnosed in 2019, right? So over 39,000 being just diagnosed in 2019 alone, new people being diagnosed, right, with HIV. And over 37.7 million people in the world had HIV in 2020. And obviously that number has grown since 2020 because we are now in 2022, which basically means it's almost 2 years after these last numbers were released by the WHO. So this is very promising, guys. I'm really looking forward for what to expect from Moderna. We know there's a CRISPR company out there. It is a private company, Excision Biosciences, that are working on the HIV CRISPR drug. And now we have Moderna launching their clinical trial for HIV. So you have sort of a race there. But I do like the quote, and I read it last night. The quote goes, competition is the road to discovery, right? Competition breeds discovery, right? Without healthy competition, without actual competition, you have many delays. You have so much cost. I mean, just think about governments' reach in certain monopolies. They have no competition, right? They have no competition, and that's why bureaucrats, they end up costing a lot more. That's why delays are always, have you ever heard of a government project without delay and high cost and what it was originally budgeted for? I mean, that's just, it just happens every single day across all governments around the world, right? So private businesses, public companies like Moderna tackling this is very novel, very interesting. We'll see what happens. Again, very early. Curious to see what you guys think. Leave me a comment below. Hopefully you guys are having a beautiful Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you found value. Smash that like button and destroy it. Subscribe if you haven't, and let me know what you guys think about Moderna and HIV underneath. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.